Well, hello everyone. Today I am about to start a new, um, nope, that's not it, a new challenge to myself. Um, so we're starting out on what's called Lonely Valley. Um, got this off of itch.io. I can't remember the gentleman's name. Um, Can't remember his name. Hang on, let me look that up because I really want to make sure I give him or her full credit um, for this map because from what I've seen so far, it is really really cool. Um, Give me a second. I'll look that. I should have had that already. Unfortunately, I can't pronounce that. Yeah. So if you if you look it up, it's just called Lonely Valley. You'll be able to see that. Yeah. Evening, ma'am. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Like I said, this is just an introduction to what we're going to do here. It's not going to last long. I'm not going to run precision farming because we are doing this pre 2000. So just about all the equipment and everything else is going to be pre 2000. Um, The only thing I might give a little bit of wiggle room on is certain types of implements. Other than that, tractors, vehicles, you name it, that's going to be pre 2000. I also need to bring up my notepad. Of course, that's going to cover everything else, but it is what it is. So, um, the Homestead Act. Now, the original Homestead Act was in 1862. Um, it was signed into law on May the 20th, 1862, after passing the House in February of that year, February 28th, and the Senate on May the 6th. So Abraham Lincoln signed it in law on the 20th. Now, this was during the Civil War. The southern states had no representation in the House or the Senate. I mean, well, let's face it, they did secede from the Union. Um, so the act, the Homestead Act, had been brought before Congress several times before over the last 20 years. And it never passed because the southern states kept blocking it. And even some of the northern state representatives who thought they would lose out on laborers or skilled tradesmen blocked it as well. Now, the southern states representatives, not the common everyday man in the southern states, feared that the open territories would be small free soil farmers who would vote to ban slavery. So, in a way, the South seceding from the Union actually paved the way for Western expansion and this act. Um, so here we are. If you'll have a we'll have a quick look around. We're going to go ahead and we'll hop into our flight mode. Um, this is a really cool map. So basically, the only way you get stuff is from these guys. They'll bring it in, drop it off, and you'll send it back out the same way. There's no equipment dealer. Um, there's a grain bin, there's a sawmill, and well, that's basically it. Um, there's nothing else on the map. except for land. That's it. So where was I? Oh, sorry. Now, the requirements of the Homestead Act at the time is you had to be head of a household or at least 21 years old, had to be a U.S. citizen, or file a declaration of intent to become one. You could not have ever borne arms against the U.S. government, so Southern boys were SOL. Hang on. So yeah, Southerners that had borne arms were out of luck. Um, Now you had to live on the land, build a home, and make improvements for a minimum of 5 years. And of course, you had to file the application and pay a filing fee. Now, what was on offer was a quarter section of land, which equates to 160 acres in 1862. Okay, let's really think about that for a second. 160 acres in 1862. Can you imagine working 160 acres alone by hand with a horse, a plow, a scythe, and a wagon? I mean, really. It was a requirement to cultivate the land and improve it. I actually read an article while doing research on this, which claimed this was the first entitlement, and I use that in air quotes, entitlement program. I mean, maybe it was, but I'm pretty sure the people that were homesteading 160 acres didn't feel entitled. Now, the Homestead Act of 1862 actually ended in the continental U.S. in 1976. So within, the continental boundaries of the United States, it ended. Alaska, however, it continued until 1986. And the last deed was actually presented in 1988. Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself, why, what does all this have to do with forming this on Letter 25? Well, I want to recreate the Homestead Act, i.e., a new Homestead Act, but with a few little twists. So first, instead of 160 acres, um, we're going to be looking at something with between 60 and 100. So it's going to be a little bit smaller. Uh, Now, the reason I'm doing that is I've just finished the Welker's Farm series, and let me tell you something. With almost 200 acres, you need some really big equipment to take care of that amount of land. Um, what I'm looking at on here is I am going to pick up 6 tracks. Now what I'll do is we'll go in here. We will give ourselves money. Yes. So we're going to give ourselves, wait, is it 340? Hang on. Let me double check that math real quick. Um, Wait. No, 510. Sorry. So with that 510,000 we just threw in there, we're going to pick out this one. And this should leave us. I don't understand that. All of these are 85,000 and yet somehow I came up $5 off. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Uh, I wish I could break out the oxen mod. I don't think that would be a bright idea at all. 160 acres by hand. Oh my God. That would be, whew, yeah, that would be terrible. So what we're going to do is all the equipment has to be pre-2000. We can't use anything beyond the year 2000. That applies to harvesters, tractors. Some of the implements I might let slide, but yeah. Um, the only time we can't buy any new equipment. The only time we're allowed to buy any new equipment is uh oh, we're not done yet, low tree. Believe me. There's a few. Um the only time we technically are allowed to buy new equipment is right now. And in saying that, first of all, um let me give myself $5 back because I, we're not paying taxes on it just yet. Uh, so there's a reason there's 100,000 there right now, and I'll show in a minute. So again, there's going to be some additional requirements. So while the original act required improvements, the new act will require the same, but a little bit different. Okay, a quarter of the land will need to be cultivated and producing crops. Another quarter will need to be dedicated to forestry. The third quarter of it will need to be dedicated to animals. And the final quarter I will have to build, i.e., construct a home. Literally, can't put a house down, you have to construct it. So you have to pick one of the constructible buildings, houses, and actually build it. The new act, I'll have access to land and repay myself, as you've just seen. I paid myself, bought the land. Um, the following fee will be 1% of the total cost of the land. So $510,000 is what we spent. At the end of year 2, we will owe the federal government $5,100. So 1% of the total amount of land worth, I should say. Um, I'll need to do that every year for the next 10 years. Everyone's going to, I mean, I'll start off with a vehicle because I think reasonably speaking, everyone owns a vehicle. I mean, I used to have 3. Um, yep, I've got one that I've got my eye on, and I'll probably be using it at least to start. Um, I have thought about downloading some of the Oliver tractors, because those look pretty cool. Um, and I do have some Case IH as well, mods. So, um, I'll purchase the vehicle and reimburse myself the cost of that. And then anything beyond that, chainsaws, tractors, whatever, will have to come out of that 100,000. But here's the twist: you don't really have 100,000. You only have 50,000 because you have to take 50,000 of that and pay off the loan, part of the loan. So if I'll show you here. We have $100,000 loan. So you have 50,000 to buy a tractor and implements that you think you're going to need to get started on working the land. That's it. That's all you get. So the 50,000 is technically a guaranteed loan that has to be paid back within the first year. If you don't pay it back within the first year, well, technically the government comes in and takes your land. Doesn't matter what improvements you made or not, you're done. So, um, it's pretty tough. So, we can't do any contracts. Well, there's none on the map, like literally. Um, there's one field there, and we own it. No other fields, no contracts. Um, we can't lease, no leasing whatsoever. Um, what else? Let's see. Also, once the loan is paid off, we can no longer take any other loans. We the bank just won't loan to us. Not until we can actually show. Well, at the end of 10 years, once we finish off our improvements and prove to the federal government that we can run this land, after that they'll loan to us, but only then. So, um, basically, in like the days of old, when they went out on 160 acres with a plow, a mule, and a scythe and a wagon, we're on our own, just the way it is. Um, we have to do all the work on the tractors ourselves. We don't have a mechanic in town. He has to come from across the pond to do any work. So all the servicing will have to be done by us. So that means that we're going to have to set up a workshop sooner rather than later. Um, there is a used dealership across the way over here. They will have to actually send it to us and deliver it. We and we'll be charged for that. And we can ask them to locate certain equipment, but other than that, we can only go by what is in the used vehicle sales. Um, and again, they will ship it to us, but yeah, at a cost. So, as you can see, we have a little bit in the used vehicle sales. I'll have to go looking through that soon. Um, there are a few other things. Um, I know a lot of people look at homesteading as being able to be self-sustaining. Yeah, we unfortunately we're not allowed to do contracts of any type. Period. That's the rule I put on myself because I would say back during 1862 they didn't have any contracts. Um, and I'm pretty sure they were too busy to do contracts to be quite honest. So, um, sorry. Now, homesteading, I agree that homesteading is to be able to self-sustain, to be able to feed your family, yourself, blah blah blah. But not only that, you not only have to feed your family and yourself, but you also have to be able to make money in order to purchase equipment and other things that you need. So not only does it have to be self-sustaining food wise, but it has to be self-sustaining financially. So I wanted a homestead challenge, but I wanted one where I'm out in the wild, only counting on myself and my ability to work the land. Whether it's forestry, planting, sowing crops, growing cattle, whatever. It's just me to depend on. I guess a pioneering spirit, if you could call it that. So, um, unfortunately, what I'm looking at, we're about to buy our first equipment. Now, I've had my eye on this one, a 7810. I am a big Ford guy and always have been. It's unfortunate that Ford no longer makes tractors, but it is what it is. Now we're going to get an awning and a light put on it. And the good thing about this one is you can put a, um, I love the Ford too. Although I like the headlights like that. That just to me looks really good. And we're actually going to tick it up to the Turbo Plus. which gives us 150 horsepower. Because at some point we're going to have to bush hog, and we have a lot of land. So for the most part, the rest of this is, well, except for that, I like that one. Um, I do put rear weights on the back because I will be using this. There is one in here that has a cab model. I don't think it's the 7810. I can't remember which one it is though. But for now, this is the one we'll go with. I don't think we need a warning light because there's nobody else out here with us. We will put hydraulic control. I'm going to skip out on the front weight, but we will put an attacher on. So, um, that's basically it. That's our tractor. So, yeah. It costs 22.7. So, you know, it's. I mean, we can look at like here. I think there was a couple of tractors in here. Yeah, the John Deere. That one ain't cheap. The old Massey Ferguson. If a deer crosses our path, considering we ain't got no food, he might find out he's gonna be dinner. So, so we got the Massey Ferguson, but we can only get it up to 120 horsepower. Only 100 on this one. I mean, it does have a cab. I do wonder though. Yeah, you can put a yeah, you could put a front loader attachment on it. I don't know. I own a Massey Ferguson, so they're pretty good little rigs. I don't know if I have. I don't think I have an Agro Star, whatever that is. Um, there's one of the Case IHs right there. Let me look. I'm sure if I do have an Agro Star, it would be. It is a Massey. Yeah, I know. I don't think I have an Agro Star. I have Fiats. I have the old 9 and 8N Fords, like 23, 25 horsepower. Let's see. I just see we got the newer looking one there. Um, I don't think I've downloaded the old ones that were out in like FS22. I have an old Volvo. So yeah, like I mean I got a McCormick there. So yeah, I think cause see that's still fairly pricey and I've limited myself to a certain amount to spend on a tractor. So yeah, it's gonna have to be my Ford down. The 7810. So we'll run it. I will have to look at those. Yeah, it's pretty pricey though. So I'll have to look at downloading some extra. Um, because I'm looking at downloading some Olivers and stuff like that, but I haven't been able to do it just yet. Um, let's see, no front weight, and we'll go with the quick. So we'll do a quickly make that blue, and we will buy that for 22,150. Then we're going to go into forestry because that's what we're going to have to do to actually make some of this work. Um, Now, for every tree I cut down, I got to replant it. So I got to keep up with that. Um, and then we have this, which is a wood trailer. I think we'll use this, and it is auto load. Yeah, well, we do have some flat bits here. So, yeah. I think we'll get this. We don't want to we don't need no license plate. So we'll buy that. This, and again, this is auto loading, so that helps a lot. Let's see, what else do we need? I'm pretty sure we're going to need a winch. I tried to find some trailers that were like older trailers, and just couldn't find any that would fit. If you like, I found like, okay, hang on a minute. I think it might be in here. Yeah, this one. So I have this one. The problem is it just lays on the ground. Like I can't load wood like that. I need it to be sitting up, and it doesn't auto load. I can't even do it with universal auto load. So again, yeah. So we're gonna need a winch because we are going to have to pull some of these bad boys out of the woods. We're going to need a front end loader. Once I find it, there it is. And we do have 150 horsepower, so we will go with this one. And we'll make that New Holland blue since it matches the Ford. We're going to grab these pallet forks because they actually have this area here that you can put a tension belt on, and it works really good. I might not have it though. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Let me do a little moving with this real quick. I want it to have a little bit more wiggle room than that. So we'll do that. And then we need, yeah, I mean, I've used like these guys, where are they? That thing is a pain, is a serious pain in the butt, that one right there. Like like the forks are too short, and the claw on it won't grab much of anything. And I'm just like, no, I ain't messing with that thing anymore. We do need a weight. Yes, we need a weight. That one. And there we go. So let's get back down from our little height here. Turn our flood off. And this is what we got to work with. Now, before we go any further, I have to go back in. Well, no, I don't. Not this one. I have to go into finances. And then I have to repay the loan. That brings the loan down to, hey, Rusty, how you doing, man? That brings the loan down to 50 grand. Leaves us 2,600 total. And we have this to work with. And we've got these 6 parcels of land. So this is where we're starting from. So, yeah. What I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to get in my old Ford here. Really love these old Fords. Can't complain about these. And we're going to hook up some things and move them to a location. And like I said, I'm just kind of showing our setup, how we're going to get started. And that's about the extent of it. We have purchased our tools. Yeah, I love the old Fords. They I really wish they still made them. Unfortunately, Ford sold out. Well, Ford bought New Holland and then turned around and sold Ford slash New Holland to Fiat. Now, when they sold it, they told them that they couldn't use the Ford name anymore. So that's why there are no more Ford tractors and just New Holland. So yeah, because Ford said, "And we're going to keep making cars and trucks and stuff like that, but we're not going to do we're not going to do that anymore." So yeah, you guys, yeah, no more Ford tractors. So let's see if we can pick this up. Look at that. Sneak it through there. Lock it on. There we go. Now, the good thing about this is that we have um, a sawmill, and we can sell to the sawmill. At some point, I want to get our own sawmill so that we can actually make boards and stuff like that, so that we can actually build our house. But there's a sawmill over there. Oh yeah, straps on forks work wonderfully. But like I said, I just thought that this map, I got on it, I got looking around at it, and it's a really cool map. Like the pond down here, I don't know if anybody's ever been on this map, but like, and now all these trees are spruce, so you're not going to get a lot of money for spruce. Um, there's just not enough leaders in them. But what I want to do is we have some stuff over there we got to sell. I'll show you all that in a minute. But one of the reasons I picked these two particular ones is this map is called Lonely Valley, Rusty. Um, it's not. I found it on. I think it was King Mods. Yeah, it's King Mods. I'm pretty sure. So I thought this was just really cool. Also, it gives me water, so I can, once I'm able to afford a water tanker, I can come down here and grab water. But I thought this was really, really cool. And yeah, so now this was this is where the starting farm was. And as you'll note, there is no crop in this little bit of a spot here. Yeah, it's just weeds and overgrown and withered. But yeah, this is where the original starting farm would be. Oh, cool. I have crop destruction on. That works fine for me for the moment. I'm going to change that though. Um, but over here is where I know I'm going to start. Because I have a plan, I guess you could say. It's kind of a wing it plan, but it's still a plan of sorts. Um, we get over here to where I'm going. Also, going through the woods is painful because you bounce a lot. It's great fun. But there's gonna have to be some changes around here anyway. So over here, I thought because it's so flat now, the starting location over there isn't completely flat, but this little area we're going to is completely flat. And I like oaks, but there's a problem with oaks. That's all the branches that comes with them. They're a real pain. Um, this is all flat. So this is where I intend to start off. Now the reason I'm saying that is we have to basically take a quarter of this land and turn it into forestry. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to take this plot, and I'm going to carve it up to where there's about 25 acres, and all this is going to be wood. So I'm going to half this. This area is going to be wood. Half this is going to be wood. This and this is going to be cultivated. I have a landscape anywhere mod, which means I'm going to change this road. This road is not going to be here anymore. And the road will run through here, down to here. And this road, I'm actually going to change it to go around. And that road will come into the property, but the rest of this will be gone. And all this will be cultivated. So that's the general plan. And these two flat areas, they're the flattest areas I've got, will be turned, one will be turned into sort of like the animal area, with a partial part over here. And this will be, our homestead area here. Probably somewhere right in the center, right about there. So that's the general idea. We can sell these. They only sell for $1, so it's not a big deal. There is each one of these all sell for $1. It's not like we're breaking the bank, making a lot of money off these things. Sold my barbecue. Dang. Anyway, there we go. And then we're putting down for house. We don't have a house, so we're putting down well, there we go. That's our house, at least for the time being. And that's it. So, that's all we're doing today. Well, it's not all I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be getting stuck into those trees over there shortly. Sorry. But that will be in the first episode. I can't cut a lot of these trees because our border is, I think our border's right up in here somewhere. Yeah, I think it's right about, yeah, it's close. Yeah, it's right about up in here. Somewhere where this tree is right here. Yep. So I can't cut that. Everything past that is ours. So yeah, we'll get started on that. And but thanks for joining in, guys. Like I said, this was just a kind of a short and sweet. Welcome to the new series. If anybody wants to um, attempt this challenge, you're more than welcome to do so. This is mostly just for me to try to challenge myself. So I appreciate you guys being here. You take care of yourselves and look for the next episode or the first episode of this to be out on Wednesday. Take care, guys. I appreciate your time so much, and appreciate all the suggestions. You guys take care of yourselves, and we will catch up with you later.